All right. Hey, Facebook, guess what? We're live. It's good to be here, and I'm really coming on to this Facebook Live with a lot of gratitude in my heart and a lot of, this was a great day for many, many of us. I know for 12 speakers that knocked it out of the park today, they're feeling pretty good. They're out celebrating. And I think for us internally as a team, I don't want to officially speak on behalf of our TEDx Wilmington team, but there were some internal things that we did to really enhance and accentuate the teamwork, and it was just a great day. If you don't know really what I'm talking about, let me just show you the program here today. Mary DuPont Stand By Me organization. Which is I believe, a public-private partnership, largely supported by the United Way of Delaware, helped make this possible. Personal finance community results, and it was just really, really, really outstanding stuff. And the idea behind all of this is that folks like you and me, and folks that are worse off, a lot worse off than you and me, have a hard time understanding all the financial systems and how to keep everything going financially, and they get displaced, and there are a lot of barriers, and there's a lot of mental things that get in the way. And so Mary's organization really helps people with counseling and with courses and workshops and all of this stuff, and they're really doing some great work here today. Now, this just so happens that it's happening in the middle of me prepping for Thursday's Lead Well event, where we're going to be discussing this book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And I can't think of a better example, real live example of personal growth than what these speakers went through yesterday and today. I mean, they ran the gauntlet, okay? Now, I am here, I'm looking all dorky and nerdy because I've got my TEDx Wilmington shirt on, and I'm contrasting that with the average speaker for this event that we had today. As you read in my descriptions, normally when we have a TEDx Wilmington event, we have a pretty high proportion of people who are like me, who are authors and speakers and trainers and people just like me doing this, and we love the stage. And I know that some people say, and apparently it's a fact, that the number one fear that is even worse than the fear of death is the fear of public speaking. I don't know about that, because I always think, hey, I want to give me a stage. I'll speak in front of people. Give me a stage. And why do I have to fight so many other people off of the stage for me to get on the stage to be able to add value to other people if everybody is supposedly so scared of public speaking? I think it's a little bit of a myth. I think maybe the average person statistically doesn't especially like to speak, but there's a high minority of us that just want a platform and be able to use that platform for our own purposes. And I say all that to say this, my friends: the folks that we profiled today, they were not professional speaker type people, okay? And that's not an insult. That's not me taking a shot at them. That's actually a compliment. So you look at the people that spoke today. These were professional people. These are people that have all kinds of backgrounds, but very, very, very few of them were people that enjoyed public speaking. And I'm actually trying to find the the lineup here to show you. And we had a distinguished lineup, but they weren't distinguished because of the public speaking. They were distinguished. Some of these people were major leaders. Some of these people were in government. Some of these people were in the private sector. Some of them were all over the place. Gigi, it's good to see you. Andrea, it's good to see you. I'm glad you survived that crazy hurricane. It's a good job. But man, I mean, it was an amazing event today. So I want to profile a couple of people. But before I do that, I want to talk with you about growth, because there was a lot of growth in the room today. I mean, we grew as a team. Gigi did a killer job for her first time on the PowerPoint, which is no small task, doing the PowerPoint slides for the people that are giving their own TEDx talk. I mean, that is, that was something that I did not particularly want to do, so I credit her for doing it. And everybody stepped up. Everybody stepped up in growth. I mean, my mentor, John Maxwell, he says everything worthwhile is uphill. And every day we have to climb uphill just a little bit every day. And sometimes we have to make a big epic leap into the unknown. Sometimes we have to make an epic leap into new territory in order to really grow. And sometimes we come to that place where it's like, you can't baby step anymore. You have to either step down, you have to get off the pot, or you have to go for it. If you know what I mean. That was bad word picture. So growth is all about making choices deliberately to make a difference. And I have no idea why I've got a picture within a picture right there. Just checking my tech stuff here. But this was just off the chart to see everybody grow. There are all kinds of laws of growth in here, and I've talked about the first, I think, 5 of them very quickly yesterday. Here's one that we've talked about, the law of pain. Okay, we've talked about this in my mastermind group. We have talked about the law of pain. I call it the law of Mr. T, because Mr. T, in the 80s especially, was all about pain. I predict pain. What do you predict for this fight, Mr. T? Pain, and it's like the law of pain says that when we have the good management of bad, painful experience is going to lead to amazing growth. And there was a lot of pain. Okay. Why do I bring this up, my friends? It's because as of tonight, our new TEDx Wilmington alumni, each and every one of them had a truckload of pain, okay? Now, we had some really neat little Facebook Lives yesterday from the restaurant that you might have seen on my wall, and we did some things to kind of take the edge off of that pain and the edge off of that fear, but every one of them had their own personal, private pain, and I was just trying to be a little supportive guy that didn't get in their way, but my job today was to be flexible. My job was to hand them their lavalier microphone because we were a little short-staffed. So I was handing everybody the lavalier mic, and they were all getting all set up with the lavalier. And the ladies, had to kind of run that lavalier mic, kind of so that the mic wasn't showing too much. And it was just like, it was a little awkward. We all got through it. Okay, we're all growing. We're all learning how to do this thing. But every single person had a lot of pain. Let me tell you, a lot of pain. What does pain look like? Pain can look like change. Yeah? So we have to do something a little different. We have to go to some new territory. We have to feel new feelings, okay? Change is unpleasant. Change can be painful. What does pain look like? It looks like fear, okay? Painful fear, crippling fear. I tell the story of when my wife took me to India for the first time and then said, hey, honey, why don't you go get some cash or some rupees at the ATM? And so my wife wanted me, now you think, well, what's the big deal, big boy Nathan? Well, let me tell you, in India, when you cross the street, okay, you've got, so many, I can't even think to describe it. You've got so many things coming at you, okay? I'm not talking vehicles. I'm not just talking buses. I'm not just talking little not tuk-tuks, that's Guatemalan, but rickshaws. I'm not talking bicycles. I'm not talking motorcycles. I'm not talking mopeds, cars, goats, animals. And then it's like Frogger. It's like human Frogger. And I had to get rupees from the ATM, and my knees just about buckled in the middle of the intersection because I was so scared out of my mind. And the worst part about it was I was holding the hand of our tour guide the whole time, and my knees pretty much buckled in the middle almost of the intersection. It was crazy. And so, I was fortunately didn't didn't get any worse than that. Didn't need to change my clothes or anything. Wasn't quite that scared, but I was scared. And our speakers here today, they were all facing their own, we call it in the coaching industry, we call it the terror barrier. I mean, you do something new, something different, something that really competes and challenges your self-image of yourself, and you're going to hit and rub right up against what we call the terror barrier. And a lot of that is the fear, but a lot of that is the fear of the unknown, or the fear of something being different, or the fear of just changing. Even if it's a good thing, it's still scary, and there's a lot of resistance. And a lot of the resistance isn't even the new thing. It's just our old self holding us back. So the law of pain says that when we have a good way to manage bad experiences or challenging experiences, in this case, it was a very constructive appearance, you're going to have great growth. Okay. We had great growth all the way around. Let me share with you a few people. Now, we kicked it off with a cabinet member here in the state of Delaware. It was just an honor meeting this person who actually supervises, I think over 4,000 employees. And I think she has a budget in her department of over $2 billion. That was billion with a B. And I mean, she kicked us off. It was an unbelievable speech and talk. And she was so well prepared because she knew what a TED Talk was. She might have been the only person out of all the speakers, because I said they're not professional speakers today. They were people that didn't see themselves as speakers, professional speakers, certainly not TEDx speakers. But when they were tapped on the shoulder and Mary DuPont said, I think you would add so much value to our event and help encourage people to save money and to budget their money and to become financially independent if you're willing to share your story with it. They stood up to the challenge, and they did an amazing amount of prep work, and every single one of them did an amazing job. Now, Andrew Wilson, man, good day to you, sir. And your TEDx talk was just off the chart last month, so we appreciate you. Paul Gustafson, honored to see you on here, my friend. Oh my gosh, always adding value, proud to know you. No, sir, I'm proud to know you, and I was so proud to have you up here at Live to Lead Brandywine last year, interviewing our top 100 and top 30 Delaware nominees for the John Maxwell Transformational Leadership Award, but I digress a little bit. Oh my gosh, so it was just amazing. Then we had Irene and we had Whitney after that, and they just got up and they paired up and they hit it out of the park. They did a great job. My friend Mark, who is a benefits manager at our local hospital here, didn't know what the heck a TED Talk was or a TEDx talk at all. He went up, stepped up to the plate, did a tremendous job. My friend Kevin, who works at Habitat for Humanity in Sussex County, Delaware, which is the beach county, the lowest county, the most southernmost county, which is, if you've ever been to the beaches in Delaware, that's where the beaches tend to be. He stepped it up, knocked it out of the park. He braved, we have a little joke here in Delaware. It's not a joke for people that live in the southern counties, but there's a canal, and apparently up where I live, up north of the canal, the driving is crazy, and it is, and it's really congested, and it sort of is, not like Philadelphia at all, but people talk about, north of the canal. So Kevin, my friend Kevin Gilmore, came north of the canal to talk about, what he does and talking about financial empowerment and neighborhood revitalization. Did just an absolute great job. Jonathan Murdoch was probably the closest one to a professional speaker. He is a professor at New York University. He took the train down, I assume, did just a great job, and he's done extensive research on why people kind of run out of money and what happens when people run out of money, and it's debunking a lot of the myths that we have and stereotypes. So his talk was just off the chart as well. And it was fun talking with someone from New York City about how in Delaware we have less people here than you have in the whole island of Manhattan. We only have 3 counties here in Delaware. It was just it's fun to talk to someone like that and see the amusing look of amusement on their face. Now, here, look at this. Now, this is a special insert. These are all the Stand By Me coaches in this financial program, and these are all victory stories and testimonials, okay? Now, this is illustrating when I see something like this, and this kind of, we call it social proof, but according to John Maxwell language in the 21 Irrefutable Laws, this is called the law of buy-in, okay? This is called people buy into the leader and then the leader's vision, and a great way to get buy-in is to show all of the people that you have helped. And that's what happened when people looked in this program. They just saw dozens and dozens and dozens of success stories. Now, Alexandra gave a killer talk about student loans and courage and the racial wealth gap. And sometimes when, I don't know if I'm the right person to say what I'm about to say, so I want to be sensitive about it. But sometimes when we have some of these TEDx talks and it's these, talks about gender or race or things like that, I'm like white male poster boy here, So sometimes I just, sometimes I don't know what is going to be said. And I'll say it this way. When somebody comes up and says something so thought-provoking with as much grace and elegance and still makes you think and still challenges you like Alexandra did, it's just a wonderful, I really appreciate it, because if my just my own kind of walls, just because, whenever I hear something, I'm always, like all of us, we're comparing it to our belief system and everything else. So if somebody can get through and I can listen to them talk without feeling sometimes maybe a little bit, under attack or, just challenged, and wondering, what's about to happen. That didn't happen with this particular talk. It was wonderful. And maybe I get slammed for even saying that. I'm just trying to be transparent. Sometimes I'm in these talks that I help produce, and sometimes it's a little, I wonder what's coming next. And sometimes I'm like, man, this is great. I really want to explore what they're saying. And Alexandra's talk was just wonderful because I felt really safe to explore and safe to engage with that. Now, pan me if you like for saying that. I'm just trying to be transparent. And I think dialogue is a really important thing. And I just appreciate people that can go the extra mile in that way, even if I'm not, going as far as I should, so that I can hopefully come out of my shell and meet them and change my own perspectives. That's part of why we do these TEDx talks. So Shauna and Luke came next, and they were talking about the pipeline of talent in colleges here in Delaware. Then all that, going through all this to say, my friend Denise stepped up to the plate. Okay, Denise, you know who you are. Oh my gosh, and those of you that were there today, you know who Denise was. Now, Denise was the kind of the least likely to enjoy her talk person. If there was a least likely to enjoy the talk award, okay, Denise would probably have gotten it, because she was just very awesome person, but very kind of, not super gregarious out there, and not really the public speaking type. None of them really were too much today, and they all stepped up to the plate and delivered amazing talk. But, Denise, man, oh my gosh. So I just got to tell you, we're all rooting for Denise all day today. And so part of, and my friend Ajit George, who is the organizer here at TEDx Wilmington, does a really amazing job. He is so intuitive, and he is so high touch, and he is so skillful. I don't even know that he consciously does this. I think maybe he has some intentions, but I think a lot of what he does is just in the zone, and it just kind of comes out from his experience and his love for people. It just kind of comes out, and I don't know that it's a really conscious thing. But, Ajit drew Denise out of herself, and he encouraged her, and even in his introduction, he kind of said it in a way that got the crowd rooting for Denise. So when Denise came out and she had this opening line, okay, and I forget what it was, but it was something about don't play with that toy. And she just said, don't play with that toy, and she just really she really put a lot of oomph into it. And I tell you what, friends, I mean, I'm a professional speaker in training right now. I do workshops. I do all this stuff. I study. I work on my own content. I'm doing all of this stuff. I'm hosting events. And I tell you what, I wish that I could have the crowd eating out of the palm of my hand like Denise had everybody eating out of the palm of her hand today. I mean, it was just epic. I mean, it was kind of like Krav Maga or karate or something like that. If you see like a documentary on Krav Maga, it's this whole thing where people are coming at you and you come at them and you throw the punch and then they're going to dodge it and skillfully grab you and they're going to use that whole force that you came at them with. And if they're really good, they're going to take that force, sidestep it very deftly, and then throw you over their back. Because all of that force that you came at them, they were able to dodge it and turn that against you. And that is what Denise did to old man Murphy. You know, Murphy's Law and fear. I mean, she saw the fear coming and Denise took it and dodged it and like tripped the fear and got fear on his back. And it's like Denise had her, knee on fear and grabbed fear's arm around her back and had fear like crying uncle for Denise's whole talk. I mean, have you ever seen anybody like this? Maybe you've coached somebody like this and somebody just had that fear wall and you didn't really know for sure if they were going to break through that fear wall, but then they did. And you just see them just kind of, I mean, I know this kind of violent imagery and Denise did not, I mean, this is all kind of a metaphor, but I mean, she rocked her talk and she loved every second of it. And the crowd loved it because it was just something absolutely, I know it changed lives. And it wasn't just Denise's life that was changed. I think it was a number of people in the crowd who listened to her talk. But I mean, lives were changed today. And it's so cool because frankly, I've got a lot of my friends right now with my mentor, John Maxwell. I've got dozens and dozens and dozens of my friends that went back to Paraguay. And I just short of almost vowed that I would go back there. I didn't vow, but I really wanted to be in Paraguay this time. I'm not in Paraguay, but I'm still making a difference right here where I live, and so can you. And it was just awesome. So anyway, Denise, man, I hope you watch this. I hope your son, who is in the room today with his colleagues, I believe from the Air Force. I mean, they all walked in. It was awesome. I hope that you hear and he hears and that other people that were in the room comment on your talk because it just made the whole thing worthwhile. I mean, it made more than just this event worthwhile. It was just amazing. So we had Javier, who was just off the chart. I mean, Javier gets the award for being on his feet when we turned the light off on him. And then we had these really bright lights and only one of them was on. Javier gets up there and he's in the middle of his talk and, he did just a killer job as well. And then we had this light that had gone out. So I saw one of the sound guys or the video guys and they plugged it in. All of a sudden this super bright light in the middle of Javier's talk hits him, and he just keeps on going. Like he doesn't flinch at all. He did just an amazing job today, and it was just wonderful to see. Then we had Anna Maria and Susan that closed the whole thing out. Kevin, oh my gosh, Habitat for Humanity, Kevin, oh my gosh. South of the canal, I hope. So congratulations today. Go back in the replay. I gave you a little shout out, my friend. But, we just had a really great event today. So let's go back and talk a little bit more about growth, because growth doesn't happen in one day. And if Kevin's still on the line right now, and if he wants to chat little comments here, I think Kevin and all the other speakers today would tell you this is not a once and done thing. This is not an event. This is a process. And they worked on their talks. They worked on their growth. And they rehearsed, and a lot of them missed a few deadlines. They were a little outside of the bounds, and they stayed in the game, and they made a massive leap. They made a massive leap, okay? And most of success is incremental. Much of it, like a vast majority, is just baby step and being faithful. But like I said, once in a while, there's that point where it's time to leap. Okay, it's time to just jump off the cliff after you've built your parachute, okay, and you've lined your parachute and you've checked your... Sometimes you just have to jump out of the plane, yeah. So Kevin here, who's the real expert here today, folks, definitely personal growth process and well worth it. So that's so rewarding to be able to see that. And you know, it's just so cool that I'm connected with you, Kevin, on Facebook and so many of the other speakers now. And welcome to the TEDx alumni family and everything else. But it's just so cool. Part of the reason that I do this, not just to serve Adjutant George, not just to serve the team, not just to have really my own kind of leadership sandbox, a kind of a leadership prototype that I'm working on leading across. I'm working with amazing folks like Bob Turner and Gigi Gladys here, who's commented and given me some thumbs up. I mean, there's so many tremendous professionals on the team that I get to build influence with and build a team with and up level, but it's also to serve new people and serve these amazing speakers. So anyway, so today was one of those days, my friends, where the baby step wasn't going to cut it anymore. And I know What About Bob, my favorite movie of all time with Bill Murray, it was all about the baby step, okay? And the baby step, I mean, it's so funny, the Bill Murrays from the Bill Murray movies from the early 90s, I'm always talking about either baby steps with What About Bob, and tell me if you remember that movie, or the alternative, if we're not growing, okay, if we are growing, it's baby steps, okay, like What About Bob. But if we're not growing anymore, or if we just fall into the assumption gap, which says that, oh, I don't need to grow because I'm going to grow automatically, that is the assumption gap. It's not going to happen. And when that happens, when we assume that we're going to grow, not only do we not grow, but we take part in the other Bill Murray movie, which is Groundhog Day. Remember Groundhog Day? And what is this? What are you doing? Are you stirring a pot, Nathan? What's this little emotion? No, this is called Going Around the Mountain. When she comes, she'll be going around the mountain. And you'll be going around the mountain again and again, unless you get into baby stepping instead of Groundhog Day. And we get into Groundhog Day when we just don't grow anymore. Or we assume that we're in the second grade and our bodies are physically growing and, you know, everything's happening automatically. Once we hit about 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, when our bodies physically stop growing, you know, the mind doesn't grow anymore unless we really stretch it. And today was a day when 12 new TEDx Wilmington alumni speakers, including Kevin and several other people here. I mean, we've got a lot of our TEDx alumni here, and this is like a wall of fame right here. And they leaped. I mean, it was time for a leap of faith today, an intelligent leap of faith, a prepared leap of faith, but they had to leap. They had to get up on that stage. They had to get in front of those letters, and they had to walk on that red carpet, and they made a difference here today. And I'm just so happy about that. I mean, it's really as simple as, are you going to assume that you're going to automatically grow? Because you're not. And what's worse is when we don't grow, is we start taking out of the bank account all of what we've been putting in. When we don't grow, when we don't do our day's work, we're spending invisible money without checking our account. And pretty soon, if we're not careful, we're going to overdraw the bank account. And it might be money, okay? Because today, you know, stand by me. It's all about, you know, money and resources and managing our money, but it can also be the health bank account. Or it can be the self-esteem bank account. You know, a lot of people still think it's egotistical to coach yourself and to bless yourself and to speak affirming words to yourself. And I'm going to tell you, if you're anything like me and you don't speak affirming words to yourself, you're going to deplete your self-esteem account, and you're going to walk around and you're going to have your heads in the dumps. Now, that may seem like a graphic self-disclosure, but I've just found it to be the case. And you know, the law of reflection in this book that we talk about, it says you need to see value in yourself to be able to add value to yourself. If you don't see the value in yourself and your potential, you're not going to invest the money and the time and the energy that you need to grow yourself. Now, every one of our TEDx speakers today all 12 of them, they invested the time, not just in their talk, but in themselves, because they believed they could do it. Even though maybe, many of them, I think, had major doubts, every single one of them did it. And that, I just applaud it, but it's because they saw the value in themselves and in their ideas, and they sometimes maybe more in their ideas than in their ability as a public speaker. But you know what? Their belief in their idea we're spreading compelled them to do the hard work, to make it simple, and then to spread the idea. And I'm so happy to say, I'm going to get that footage. I'm the guy that uploads all the stuff on the back end. So in about, 30 days or so, I'm going to get the edited copy of the uploading of the video. I'm going to upload that video, and we're going to be able to have that stuff go live in about a month time. So, I could just keep talking. I've already talked for about a half hour, which is usually as far as I go with these things. I am just so proud of each and every one of our speakers today. I know without any doubt I would speak for the team, for Adjut George, for other people, and saying that we are so proud of you today. You did such a great job, and you really showed us what we didn't know was possible. I mean, because a lot of times, for TEDx speeches, especially our annual event, our women's event, we have so many people applying for this. They want to be up there. They know what TEDx is. They know everything else. We don't have so many that are a little unusual, that the people that said, I have an idea, but I don't really know about this brand. I don't know what a TED Talk is, and I have to do what, and it has to be what way, and I can't do death by PowerPoint bullet points, and I have to learn in a completely different communication style, and I have to give these updates, and I have to meet these deadlines. I mean, you guys really showed us what is possible. The only other thing that I can think of that comes close to the reward of today is when we did our first TEDx Youth at Wilmington back in the spring, and we had youth, we had teenagers giving their first TEDx talk, and that was pretty good in contention for inspiration. And that was earlier in the year. So, I mean, it was just so wonderful to spread your ideas today. Those of you that are local, or those of you that know local people, there is going to be a special incentive for anyone that comes to LeadMax on Thursday at the Wilmington Public Library, or sends anybody else there, because as I announced yesterday, for the first person who shows up and brings another person who registers after yesterday, so that would be today or tomorrow. Tomorrow is the absolute last day to register, and a few seats are available. But a special offer, I am going to be giving a special incentive bonus for those of you that love TEDx Talks and you missed the one today, but you want to go to the next one. That's going to be great, because it's going to be on Adulting 101. It's from Accelerate Delaware, which is our nonprofit here in Delaware that is tasked with retaining and attracting millennial talent to live, work, play, and stay right here in Delaware. They are sponsoring a TEDx Wilmington next Tuesday night. And guess what? I've got 2 complimentary tickets to give to anyone who brings a friend, a new friend, and you register and you show up on Thursday for what is going to be an amazing growth journey. Guess what we're going to talk about? We're going to start our 4-month curriculum on the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And I'm going to make an announcement about our certificate program, which is for those out there that want to bolster the resume. They want to bolster their LinkedIn credentials. They want to bolster their curriculum vitae, their CV. They want to maybe get in line for a promotion, or their volunteer experience, or their personal growth experience. I am now proud to say that I am offering a certificate for people that make at least 3, if not all 4, of these different book studies that we're doing at the library. Now, they're going to be different books, okay? And there's all kinds of ways to engage. But all you have to do is go to leadmax.me, leadmax.me, like the word me, leadmax.me. You'll find out how to register. Don't just like it. Don't just click the Facebook I'll be there, but you have to actually register in Eventbrite to secure your seat while the seats are available. And why do you do this, Nathan? Well, it's just me giving back to Delaware. It's me giving back to Wilmington. And it's also wanting to do something to make a difference. I mean, I was able to serve other people. Stand by me today to make a difference. They're certainly making a difference. Well, the workshops at the library, how I try to make a difference. And, there are a whole lot of organizations that have time-sensitive needs to be number one, or to stop being number two, or to take advantage of some opportunity, or to kind of emergency fix a culture problem. And that means training, and that means people need to have a growth mindset. That's what I do. And when I need to make a house call and go to the organization, go to the company, go to the boardroom, I'm able to do that. And, the deal is you come to the library, it's absolutely free. You bring me to you, it's not going to be free. And that helps me do what I do to give back as a Rotarian and also for, TEDx Wilmington. And it's just great to be able to live a life where I am serving. Sometimes I'm serving and I'm doing it in the corporate world. Sometimes I'm serving and it's this TEDx community, which is crazy rewarding for me. Sometimes it's at Rotary. Sometimes it's in other places. But, man, what a reward and what a privilege and an honor it is. So anyway, folks, I'll see you at LeadMax. And even if you're watching the replay, as always, just make a comment. I do respond to it. And, man, made so many new friends yesterday and today. So appreciative, and my heart is full, and yours probably is too. Take care, everybody. Be well.